Hi, I'm Caitlin Lancet, demo artist and trainer for Inception News. In version 16, we introduce the ability to group broadcast stories together in what's called story grouping. The purpose of the story group is to make it easier to work with collections of related broadcast stories, like an intro, a package, and a tag in a running order. So here's what that looks like. Let's say I want to group these 3 Vietnam vet stories together to create a story group. We can select the broadcast stories by either using Shift-click or Control-click. From there, you'll notice at the top of the running order, there's a new icon called Group. Once I click that, or I use the hotkey Control-G, I'll see that these 3 stories are now grouped together. To the left of them, you'll see what's called a group handle. Another thing to note is that it's not required that the slugs or the segments match in order to group your stories together. So, if you want to add a story to an existing story group, all you need to do is select one of the rows in the group. Let's say I'm going to choose my package row here in the middle, and then I'm going to create a new broadcast story. I can either use the Create Story button or the keyboard shortcut Control-I. Now I have an additional row added into my story group. And then from here, I can just slug my segment. So as you can see, we're giving it the segment of live. Now we've got a live segment as a part of our story group. If you'd like to add a story which lives elsewhere in the running order to an existing story group, we need to drag that story where we want it to go. So let's say, for example, I want to have this Denmark polar bear cub story included in my Vietnam vet story group. I'm going to drag my Denmark polar bear story up. You'll see now that they're all grouped together. One thing to note here is that the color palette for the group handle is fixed, and it'll change color each time you create a new group so that in the rundown you can easily distinguish groups of stories from one another. Now, if you want to detach an individual story from the story group handle, you can simply drag the story out of that group. Also, you can move a story group in its entirety by selecting the group handle and dragging it to where you want it to go. We can also create story group templates. We'll start by going to the story browser, and then we'll go to templates. You'll see we have 5 different stories in our story templates. They all share the same hotkey, Alt-1. The idea with this order column is that we can determine what order these stories will appear in my running order when I use that Alt-1 hotkey. Note that 0 is going to be the first story, 1 will be the second, and so on. Now, let's see it in action. All I need to do is hit that hotkey in my running order, and here all those stories have been added, and they're also grouped together. That's a look at story grouping. For any other questions, visit our help guide, head to the Inception page at rossvideo.com, or check out our online forums. Thanks for watching.